my health CV is fucking awful. Like, absolutely terrible. You'd look at that, you'd probably cringe. Welcome back to the bench, episode 2 of Billy's Bench. This is a little series I'm doing to promote conversation, to start engaging with people on a real level, cutting through all the fluff of social media. Let's crack on, shall we? So most people don't handle setbacks very well. Just to run through some of my client setbacks I've had that come to mind over the last year, whether it's losing a parent, having MS, cancer diagnosis, hypermobility issues, being wheelchair bound. Depression is a very, very common one amongst people nowadays. What else has people had then? Yeah, again, other parent illnesses, surgeries, excuse me. And then obviously onto their own ones. And that wasn't just all like families or anything like that. So I've had people that have got those exact issues. You would categorize those as quite significant setbacks. There's other minor ones where you don't make it to the gym for a week, you pick up a little bit of an injury and it throws you right off track, it sets you back a couple of months maybe. But setbacks are setbacks, and no matter how minor, how severe, the categorization of them is that it has put you off track from achieving what you want to achieve in the long run. Now, it's not really setbacks that are the problem, it's your reaction to them. Now, through all of these people that I said at the start, with the losing parents, like issues with their own physical or mental health, these are all clients that have been with me quite long term now, and still carry on showing up week after week. We've just adjusted their plan. And I don't want to make this too much about gym or fitness or weight loss related, because this is just general terms about navigating life, with your career, with your health. It could be with relationships, whatever it is. It's very applicable. These are just standard practices that are very applicable to every walk of life that you need help with, really. And I use this term quite a lot, catastrophizing. We, as human beings, we're very, very good at being overthinking, very dramatic. I am probably the worst for this. People will be able to reassure you for this. That, like, catastrophizing things, that thinking the smallest obstacle, or even if it is quite a significant setback, you'll play it over and over in your mind to the point where you do eventually just give up on it, okay? There's no real, like, sort of easy solution for that. You kind of just need to have the right support network in place that helps, like, you talk you down from this sort of catastrophe that you've created in your mind, helps you navigate a clear, structured plan with a way out of it, so you can see that light at the end of the tunnel. And ultimately, those two things and a bit of patience will pretty much get you through anything that sets you back in life, okay? So let's just, like, break this down into a very quick example, because you have, like, an emotional response and a rational response to whatever happens in your life. Now, most of the time you'll take that emotional response because it's quick. It's that fight or flight mode where, so something happens, let's just use an example of you've not managed to make it to the gym for the week, because it's very applicable. I'm in the gym, I'm a PT, so why wouldn't I not use that? You hit that obstacle, like the kids are ill or something like that, so you can't make it to the gym. Your emotional response is to think, oh, everything's fucked up, I'm not going to hit my PBs. Then all of a sudden your nutrition falls off track. Then your lifestyle habits, you've not gone out for a walk. Then all of a sudden everything that you're just catastrophizing over in your mind, and you think, well, I failed this week. And then when you do a weekly check-in, or however you do your programs right now, you think, well, I've completely fucked that up. And then all of a sudden you'll carry that into next week. And then all of a sudden next week won't be quite as good as it could have been if you'd have just drawn a line in the sand. Now, a rational response to that is simply put it down to this: I'm human. Things happen. Not everything's always going to go according to plan. You know that through your life experience so far. If you'd drawn out your perfect plan for your life, it will probably not be how it's gone so far. That is just the way it is. Unfortunately, very few people will have that ideal life that everything has gone without any form of difficulty. So a rational response to that is just to go, well, that was happened. That was out of my control. I'll just crack on next week. That's as simple as it needs to be. You don't need to overthink it, you don't need to catastrophize it, you don't need to think that you're the worst person in the world. You just need to go, fuck it. I'll carry on. I'll try again next week and just do the things that you were doing that worked. Don't need to do more. You don't need to do twice as much the next week. You just need to pick up where you left off, okay? But that's enough about hypotheticals, okay? I don't want to get into just talking and like lecturing you lessons. This is a conversation. So let me share some of my stories. So when you talk about setbacks, I've had quite a few in my life. Health-wise, mental health-wise, relationships, career. I mean, the list just goes on and on. It's probably going to get over this next couple of minutes and I'll look back and think, fuck, that's tragic. But anyway, just bear with me. So health-wise, now, I get a lot of conversations with people where they talk about, again, I'm just going to go down the weight loss or fitness route because I'm a PT again, so it's very applicable to my line of work. Whether it's menopause, PCOS, I've got depression, so I can't do this. Again, the list is endless, where people have got all of these reasons that they can't do something right now. So let me explain why I don't have a lot of sympathy for that, because my ideal is you come to me, you've got a problem, you've got pain, you've got something that you want to change. My job is to help you navigate that, and sometimes it's going to be, well, clear your mind of every excuse or every reason why you've got to the position you are now, and let's try and start thinking positively about the future. So my setbacks, I've got a heart condition. I was born with very narrow aorta, and I needed to have surgery at 3 weeks old, okay? Again, I'm not going to go into too many details of that because it's pretty boring, the procedure. And I have to now have checkups every 18 months just to make sure. As I was progressing through like my youth, it wasn't really a problem. I've got this scar that goes all the way around. It's pretty cool. Might show you one day. Then I just have these like checkups, and it wasn't really too much of a thing. And then I got into my teenage years, and then all of a sudden I start realizing the severity of this particular surgery and what impact it's going to have. Although it's not having an impact day-to-day life, and there's not really many things I can't do, the sheer basic of having this on my health CV is a bit restrictive. So I remember when I went to one of these appointments when I was 13 years old, and the surgeon just made off-the-cuff comment. We was talking about what you want to do when you grow up, and when you're 13, you don't really know. Not many people know. And at that time, I was like, I want to go down the military route. I always had an interest with it. I really wanted to pursue that, and I don't think he quite realised how it came across. But this cardiologist, this specialist, said at the time, "Oh God, that's never going to happen." I kind of stopped for a second and thought, right, what do you mean? Oh, well, with this heart condition, you'd never pass the health checks. And that kind of hit me like a ton of bricks. I was a bit like, right, there's not really any wiggle room for that. It's not a case of, oh, I need to go back and study. That is just the truth. That is just the facts of you cannot do that because of the condition you had. And I was like, right, well, that changes pretty much everything then. And you just kind of deal with it, don't you? You don't sort of get too beaten up about it. You don't really try and like sort of look for sympathy from people. You just go, well, okay, well, that's that one ended already. Better crack on. You then go through your years and you go to school. I mean, I was never really one that then saw what route I wanted to go down. Knew it wasn't going to be further education. Couldn't stand the thought of going to university. Went to sixth form because it was just a case of they'd done it there. Played football manager pretty much all of the time that I was at sixth form. Didn't really end up with very good grades. Shock. So then you look at what you want to do afterwards. And I thought, well, okay, let's look at one of the other services that doesn't have their eligibility criteria so restrictive for heart conditions. So that's when I started then. What did I do first? I think it was the police first. So I thought, I'll just become a police officer. I wanted to do uniform services. I studied public services at college when I was younger. That would be perfect. Okay, that's a perfect compromise. There's a second option, great, let's go down that route. You go through the process. How far did I get with that process? Interviews, applications, all that busy business. Then it comes to the health, what's it called? Health examination or whatever it's called. Heart wasn't a problem this time because there was no restrictions on having a particular heart condition. You then go and do your examination. absolutely fine, passed the fitness test, everything is seemingly going fine. And I think, you know what, this is great. I think I was 18 at the time. And then all of a sudden you get an email a couple of months later to say your health, I can't really think what it was called now, health examination or something, whatever it's called, has failed. And I'm like, right, okay, on what grounds? And it's because I have asthma. So even though at that point I wasn't really using any of the pumps, just had to log it down on your conditions, and I didn't look into that naively, probably. Yeah, so just categorically, again, no, because you've got asthma. Okay, cool. Right, well, in future, I know that I don't use these pumps. I'm not going to log it down anymore. And I have since gone and had an asthma checkup, and it's just a case of you've grown out of it, because you do sometimes when you're older. So, again, deal with all this. You start going off and not really doing any particular job that you enjoy because your two first choices have now been told you are not doing them. So I go waste another year or whatever it is, and I think, do you know what? So I get a job, I'll start working at the MOD. It's a bit kind of like a bit of excitement, not really a great position, but I think, you know what, maybe there's a career to be had in this. And then I get down to the root of like, I still have that burning desire to do something more. So I go for a retained firefighter's position. Okay. This is where I'm thinking now. Again, you would have thought the asthma would probably be, but again, I'm not logging this down at this point because I don't have it anymore. So I'm thinking, great, this is perfect. So I've still got that sort of excitement, adrenaline rush from being a retained firefighter. Go through the checks. Again, I have the written exam. What did I do? I had an interview, done the fitness test, done the, again, I really can't remember these names. I'm going back a decade at least now, where you put the respirator on, and I was going through the towers into the confined spaces, done all of that, rolled the reels out in the fitness test. What else did I do? Oh, by the way, with the police one, I even had a uniform check as well. Yeah, I even had a uniform fitting, I remember that one. So that was even more of a kick in the nuts. Yeah, so firefighter one, that one went down the route. And then it came to health check, no problem with that again. Eyesight test. Well, anyone that knows me knows pretty bad. Right, I probably about 20% vision again. And yeah, go through the test and seemingly fine. I'm like, oh, okay, because I've got really, really good vision in this eye overall, as both together, completely fine. I can see the bottom layer. So again, it's nothing I really ever thought about. And sure enough, about a month, 2 months after all of that, you just get a courtesy email saying you failed that. We're sorry, your application has been unsuccessful. So another setback coming in. And it's quite tough when you get told 3 separate times, especially with the last 2 getting so far through the process. Yeah, you're not allowed to do what you want to do. And again, you just have to deal with it. You could go into your shell, and I could have sat there for years after that, thought, right, it's just not meant to be. You get like fed up with everything, say, oh, I've tried, I've failed, all of this, and really look for sympathy and playing the violin on yourself. And again, well, I'm not going to be able to do any health stuff because I've been told by the cardiologist not to lift too heavy, not to do this, to push it too much. I could have sat there and used all of these excuses to be a shadow of myself right now. And the point with that is that you've got your own setbacks that you've had in your life, whatever they are. Again, I'm not sort of trying to compare. We're not playing top trumps here. It's very individual to you. Like, to some people, that is a very, very minor setback. If you've like lost parents, like children, partners, these are nothing. But in my life right now, they are the biggest setbacks I've, well, not the biggest, but they were at the time the biggest setbacks I've had. And then, so again, not too much into that. But again, by the way, the points from those, like my health CV is fucking awful. Like, absolutely terrible. You'd look at that, you'd probably cringe. But after all that, that famous Rocky quote comes into it. It's not about how hard you fall, it's about how much you get back. I don't even know what it's called. I've butchered that. But it's so true because, again, that setback after setback after setback. I could have just gone into a normal routine, sat with my civil service career and thought, fuck it, that's as good as my life's going to get now, and I'll just settle for that and crack on with that for the rest of my life. Or, actually, no, there is still that burning desire to do something more. Push myself out of that comfort zone, and that's why I've gone on to do 2 ultramarathons in the last year. I've got another marathon coming up in 6 weeks. You know what I mean? I'm just pushing boundaries constantly because I'm not willing to settle for that. So you've just might have found yourself in that position where you've just admitted that this is as good as it gets, or I'm just never going to be able to do that. You just need to be shown that there is a lot of potential to go well beyond what you've previously settled for, what you feel comfortable with. You just need to be shown that way. And I hope by sort of sharing a couple of my own experiences, which, by the way, that's a flash. I've got so many more that I wanted to talk about, and I might have to do a second part of this one. But yeah, I hope it's just like, it makes you realise that the people you see that are seemingly in good shape, got their life sorted, everything's flying for them, like they're displaying on social media that everything's great in their life. It might well be, but that doesn't mean it's always been that case. I mean, I'm just going to say that the most successful people you will see have had major setbacks. They just probably either don't openly talk about them so much because they're not so pretty, or they've just focused so much on the progress and growth that they've seen in the time since then. Well, that's what's important to them now. The setbacks have made them into that person, and that's why now I look at sort of setbacks with such like I don't know, I don't even really think too much of them. If I miss gym sessions, I mean, I fail lifts, or whatever it is, whatever the setback is, I just look at it now, it's like, great, what next? Like, that's as simple as it is. I don't catastrophize anything. I don't sort of allow things to throw me off track for weeks on end. I just go, well, great. Well, like in 10 years ago, I was in an even worse place than this. So, like, you just crack on with it. So, cool. Let's try and wrap that up there. So that's just a few shares of my stories. I'd love for you to sort of be open with some setbacks in the comments. Let me know what they stop you doing. If this has kind of made you think, shit, you know what? Yeah, everyone has their own setbacks, and there's ways around it. There's ways and means. There's people, whether it's the relatability of someone that's been through similar circumstances to yourself. There's always going to be someone out there. There's always going to be someone out there that's been through your circumstance and come out the other side and can show you, because that's my own journey. I can't then relate to someone who's lost a parent, lost a child, lost a partner and stuff like that. So I'm only going to be able to offer sympathy. I don't offer advice. I don't say, this is how you overcome that obstacle, because I ain't got a fucking clue how you're feeling right now. You need to find people within that own sort of circle that can help you get through that. But as a general rule, having the support, the plan and all those bits and pieces and pushing down your health and fitness route will help you overcome pretty much the majority of setbacks. And I will stick by that forever, because with the mental health side of things, with the not having a purpose, this now what I do, the career, the personal achievements, all those bits and pieces, that is why I'm mentally as healthy as I've ever been, physically as healthy as, well, not physically as healthy as I've ever been, but I'm still pretty much there. I mean, as healthy as you can be with a six-month-old boy. And yeah, I'm in a career I absolutely love, helping other people. So like, I've got that purpose, I've got that drive, I've got that motivation, I've got that enthusiasm, that ambition. Everything is there that I need to be just constantly going forward after all of that I've just mentioned in the past. Like, yeah, it's pretty surreal to sort of like look back on that and reflect. But yeah. Well, I hope you found some value in that, and thank you very much if you are still watching that, because I really do appreciate it. I hope that is sort of inspired, or it just promotes that conversation, and yeah, flood the comments, please, and like, share, do whatever you can. I'll see you in the next one.